The story officially begins with a flashback, telling us this takes place years ago. We enter a scene full of frustration as Daredevil and the Fantastic Four are fighting Dr. Doom. It has been less than a month since their arch-nemesis, Dr. Doom, nearly killed them inside their own headquarters, an event that also involved Daredevil. The context is set quickly. Spider-Man is going to have to join forces with the First Family to deal with a major crisis happening on a university campus. The scene shifts to a tense briefing involving the Fantastic Four, General Ross, and Dr. Doom himself. Reed is still seething, pointing out that Doom has diplomatic immunity, which legally ties their hands. Ben Grimm, however, doesn't care about legalities. He threatens to physically break Doom's fingers again, which forces Sue to step in and tell him to stop. Doom sits there arrogantly and fires back, saying Ben should be extradited for his threats. He then gives the team exactly 1 minute to express their gratitude that he isn't pressing charges. Reed Richards asks General Ross why they were called here and admits he is more interested in joining the Thing and punching Doom than holding him back. But the situation is delicate. Empire State University is hosting a World Leadership Conference where Doom is negotiating non-aggression treaties. With the unstable political situation in Eastern Europe, these treaties are extremely important for stability. The problem? Doom has one special condition for attending. He demands that the Fantastic Four provide his personal security. The tension in the room shoots up instantly. Doom openly mocks Reed Richards, saying it is amusing that a man of Reed's intelligence is now reduced to protecting him. He insults the whole team and calls them his lackeys. Johnny Storm finally snaps and flames on, ready to attack, but Sue immediately throws up a force field around Doom. Johnny is shocked that his own sister is protecting a tyrant, but Sue calmly says someone in the family has to think logically. Reed explains to Johnny that this situation is bigger than their personal grudges. These treaties could help millions of people. Doom takes advantage of the moment and threatens to tell the media that the Fantastic Four caused a war in Eastern Europe if they refuse the job. Reed agrees to the mission, but makes it clear they are working for General Ross, not Doom, and they will handle security in their own way. Doom accepts this, but he demands an apology from the Human Torch for the earlier insult. The team regroups, and the mood is heavy. Ben is clearly disgusted by how things have turned out. Johnny stubbornly refuses to apologize at first, using a colorful metaphor about flying monkeys, but Sue firmly orders him to do it. Johnny finally forces out a weak apology. Doom, being the narcissist he is, accepts it, but reveals that he recorded the whole humiliation and plans to air it on the Latvian evening news forever. Reed instantly switches into tactical mode. He tells Sue to turn invisible and blend into the crowd outside to gather information. Reed assigns himself to check the ventilation and maintenance shafts. Ben and Johnny are ordered to patrol the campus openly to flush out any threats. As they move out, Johnny tries to find a silver lining, saying there is no way this day can possibly get worse. We cut to the Empire State University quad, packed with students. Peter Parker is here with his friend group. Johnny complains about his bad luck when he runs into Parker. Peter, acting snobbish to keep up his cover, talks down to Flash and says most students actually need education to get ahead, unlike the Fantastic Four, who had fame handed to them. He also mentions he is attending an English as a second language course later that night. Flash Thompson asks if he is hallucinating because Peter Parker is openly insulting the Human Torch. Harry Osborn gives some background, explaining that Peter and Johnny have old tension from high school over a girl. Harry wonders why Johnny doesn't just roast Peter, and Gwen guesses Johnny might be afraid of a lawsuit. She also points out that Peter normally acts superior, but this behavior is extreme even for him. Meanwhile, Gwen admits she feels strangely attracted to this arrogant version of Peter. She walks over to Johnny Storm, cuts Peter off mid-rant, and asks Johnny for an autograph, completely shutting Peter out. She slips Johnny a fake phone number. Peter warns him that Johnny has a girlfriend, but Gwen is clearly playing mind games with both of them. The social game keeps going. Gwen points out that there is no ring on Johnny's finger when he mentions his girlfriend. Johnny snaps and tells Gwen to back off, bringing up his issues with Dory Evans and saying it is none of her business. Peter feels disappointed, thinking Gwen is impressed by fame and believing his old instincts about her might have been right. But in her thoughts, Gwen reveals she is actually upset with Peter's behavior and is only trying to provoke him. Peter feels alone and decides to lean fully into the conflict. Since he has already annoyed Johnny and Sue, he chooses to push things further and make the Human Torch even angrier. Peter admits to himself that his frustration comes from jealousy. He feels like the Fantastic Four have everything handed to them while he struggles alone with power and responsibility. He isn't sure if he hates Johnny or secretly wants to be like him. He quickly changes into his Spider-Man costume and swings outside the hall. Johnny and Ben notice him, and they start to worry, thinking Spider-Man must know about Dr. Doom. Now in full Spider-Man mode, Peter comes face to face with Johnny and Ben and continues attacking Johnny verbally. He calls him barbecue brain and makes fun of his popularity with women. Johnny tries to brush it off, joking that Spider-Man must be part of his revenge squad. Spider-Man then brings up Johnny's breakup with Dory Evans, suggesting he might ask her out himself until he sees her sister. Johnny fires back immediately and tells Peter that his own sister and Reed just got engaged. This creates an awkward pause as Peter realizes he has no idea about recent events. Johnny suddenly connects the dots. The timing of Spider-Man showing up feels suspicious. He accuses Spider-Man and Peter of being sent by Doom. Ben quickly shushes him and reminds him that this is top secret. Spider-Man pretends to be clueless and asks if Dr. Doom is actually on campus. Johnny gets annoyed that Ben basically revealed it, but Ben argues that Peter cracked his code. Johnny dryly replies that Pig Latin is not a real code. Their argument is suddenly cut short when they notice a massive disturbance nearby. The scene bursts into chaos as Namor the Submariner arrives leading an Atlantean army shouting his battle cry, "Imperius Rex!" Spider-Man immediately realizes their secret is completely exposed. Sue demands to know if Namor has lost his mind and reminds him they have beaten his army before. Sue tries to talk him down, but Namor declares that this is not an invasion, it is revenge. He explains that he and Doom were once allies, until Doom betrayed him and tried to kill him. Now Namor wants Doom handed over, so he can personally wring his neck. Sue comments that this should teach Namor a lesson about choosing the wrong allies. Namor insists his fight is only with Doom. His army is here only to stop the coward from escaping. If Doom is surrendered, no surface dweller will be harmed. The heroes move fast. Johnny wonders how Namor even found out Doom was here. Ben quickly says he didn't tell him and claims Namor doesn't even understand Pig Latin. Reed activates a security protocol and orders Johnny and Spider-Man to escort the world leaders to the panic room beneath the main building. He clearly states that this includes Doom. Spider-Man casually compliments Reed on a recent paper about antimatter, completely ignoring the emergency. Reed tells Spider-Man to hurry up. Johnny mutters that nobody likes a brown-noser, and Spider-Man quickly shuts him up. Spider-Man and Johnny begin rushing the dignitaries towards safety. Doom refuses to be pushed around like sheep and demands that they remove their hands from him. Spider-Man challenges him, asking why he doesn't go fight Namor himself if he is such a great ruler. Doom says his hands still haven't fully healed, so he cannot perform the dark arts needed for combat, but he has other methods. As they reach the panic room door, Doom locks eyes with Johnny. In that instant, he activates a mind-switching technique. Strange energy effects flash around their heads. Doom, now inside Johnny's body, stands confidently while Spider-Man looks confused. Doom, in Johnny's body, slams the panic room door shut. He locks his own original body inside with the dignitaries and tells him to enjoy living in the body of another man. The switch is confirmed. Johnny, trapped inside Dr. Doom's armored body, stares at his own reflection in the metal door in pure horror. On the other side, Doom in Johnny's body mocks him, saying he will try to return the body in one piece, but he makes no promises. Then he flames on and flies away, leaving a trail of fire behind him. Inside the panic room, Johnny is completely freaking out. He realizes Doom just used the same mind-switching trick he once pulled on Reed Richards. He panics about the body hair and the fact that the door only opens from the inside. The dignitaries in the room are terrified of Doom and shout at him to stay away. Peter tries to awkwardly explain the situation, but they argue that even if he finds his own body, he wouldn't know how to switch back. Finally, accepting his situation for now, Johnny drops into a modern chair and mutters, "Nuts." Outside, the battle is in full chaos. Doom, now controlling Johnny's body, dives into the fight. Spider-Man tells the Human Torch to hold tight while he figures out how to get his body back before Doom embarrasses Johnny too much. Out in the open, Doom unleashes massive blasts of fire at Namor's forces, causing huge destruction. He sends out enormous waves of flame and shouts "Burn!" at the Atlantean soldiers. The battlefield turns into a wild mix of aerial acrobatics and raw elemental warfare. Reed Richards quickly realizes something is wrong. He sees that Doom has taken control of Johnny's body, but he is fighting with absolutely no restraint. Reed fears there will be serious casualties if this keeps going. He points out that while Spider-Man's webbing is fire-resistant, Doom is attacking viciously. Reed comments on the advantage of teamwork as he makes use of Spider-Man's fire-resistant webs. Sue Storm manages to trap Johnny, now Doom, inside an invisible force field bubble. Reed asks Sue if "almost" is good enough for her. From inside the force field, Johnny shouts, "Never." Doom blasts through Sue's force field with an explosive burst of fire, yelling that no one cages Doom. It feels like pure ego speaking as he breaks free. The backlash from the shattered field hits Sue hard, and Reed rushes to help her. Doom doesn't slow down at all. He keeps taunting everyone. Sue gathers enough strength to warn Doom that he is suffocating, but Doom ignores her. Reed quietly suggests that he might be pretending. Sue explains that Johnny's powers are the biggest threat on the field, but he still needs focus to breathe properly, even as she struggles to resist the heat from Doom's flames. Sue collapses, and Reed quickly catches her. Ben tries to grab Doom without hurting Johnny's body, but the flames are too intense to handle. Doom shoots back into the air and heads straight toward Namor. Meanwhile, Namor is furious after being attacked. He now wants Doom all to himself. He orders his army to keep the others busy while he personally deals with Doom and makes him pay for earning the Submariner's wrath. Namor lands a devastating punch that sends Doom flying. Doom rises back into the sky, flaming on and firing blasts of fire at Namor. The Thing charges forward, yelling his famous line, "It's clobberin' time," as he smashes through enemy soldiers. Namor roars, "Imperious Rex," once again. Spider-Man swings above the madness and thinks to himself that this is truly a royal mess. Reed tries to coordinate everyone, telling Namor, who seems to be acting irrationally, that they need to work together. But the battlefield is too loud and chaotic for clear communication. Back in the panic room, Peter decides it is time for a new strategy. He starts pounding on the door, calling out for Torchy and throwing out sarcastic comments. He mocks Johnny, who is stuck inside Doom's body. Johnny steps out and suddenly realizes he has an advantage. He is inside Doom's body. He starts inspecting the armor. He tries to remove the mask but gets shocked by a hidden trap. He quickly learns he can't even shave Doom's eyebrows without getting electrocuted. Peter shifts to psychological warfare. Through the door and communication systems, he questions the idea of honor between Doom and Namor and compares them to Don Corleone. Then he begins listing Johnny's embarrassing defeats: the time Spider-Man webbed his hands to his backside, the time he stuck a penlight in his mouth, and the time he drew a mustache on the spider signal that made the Vulture laugh at him. Peter realizes he now has the psychological upper hand. Johnny understands Spider-Man's new approach and thinks it might actually work. Spider-Man finds a communication device built into Doom's armor. Outside, the battle suddenly pauses as Doom and Namor both look at a nearby screen connected to the device. A public announcement begins. Doom's voice declares a ridiculous trade: all of Latveria's coal in exchange for a lifetime supply of lederhosen. He then addresses the Swiss ambassador and offers to trade killer robots for chocolate and blonde goodwill ambassadors. Spider-Man continues broadcasting, claiming he is signing historic treaties and making shocking concessions, including giving away a Maserati to the first bidder. Doom watches in horror as his reputation falls apart in real time. He screams, he dares, and demands his body back immediately, calling himself a peasant. Namor watches the scene, confused but amused, and calls it an excellent joke. Namor finally signals that the battle is over. He declares that he has achieved his revenge. For a man like Doom, public humiliation is worse than death. Before leaving, Namor presents Sue with a wedding gift, a small treasure he found in a sunken Spanish galleon. He gives Reed a backhanded compliment, saying Reed must have qualities Namor has yet to appreciate to win such a woman. Namor shakes Reed's hand. Hearing all this, Spider-Man thinks he must be the worst informed person on the planet about the wedding news. Namor warns Reed to treat Sue well, or answer to him. As Namor departs, Reed and Sue quietly agree not to invite him to the wedding. Sue finds the gift sweet, but she knows Namor is simply taking the high road. The Thing and Spider-Man watch him leave and agree they need to make sure the Human Torch doesn't cause any more trouble. Inside the conference hall, we see the aftermath. Spider-Man happily announces that Johnny is back to his old handsome self again. Doom angrily claims that the treaties signed were fake and cannot be enforced. But the other delegates hold up the documents and say they personally watched him sign them. They agree to withdraw all additional claims as long as the original agreements remain in place. Reed tells Doom he hopes he learned something and calls the whole situation petty. Doom snaps back that nothing matters more than a monarch's reputation and promises there will be consequences. As the heroes walk away, Reed and Sue talk about the upcoming wedding and the need for security in case Doom causes more trouble. Spider-Man and Johnny walk side by side. Spider-Man admits that what Johnny did with the lederhosen stunt was classic and says he dislikes him a little less now. Suddenly, Johnny jokes that he still has some residual evil left in him and webs Spider-Man's underarms. In response, Spider-Man shoots webs at Johnny's face. Johnny struggles to break free while everyone else laughs. After all, when things truly go crazy, they actually make a pretty good team. The story ends with an epilogue at the Latvian embassy a few hours later. An intruder enters Doom's private chamber. It turns out to be a guard who apologizes for the interruption. Doom looks strangely futuristic. The guard explains that he saw Doom leave the university earlier. This Doom calls the guard a fool and says that departure was only a distraction. He dismisses him. Alone now, Doom walks toward his occult library. He notes that there are thousands of books the owner, his past self, never fully appreciates. He calmly observes that many of these books will be destroyed in a great battle a few years from now. He reflects that his conflict with the Submariner has served its purpose and that he must leave before this era's Doom returns. He has already scanned hundreds of spell pages. He thinks about how pointless it is to worry about the past when he has mastered time travel. In the end, he decides it is best to return to the future, a future that belongs to him to conquer. Still, even with all his knowledge of what is coming, he admits that some events cannot be stopped without tearing the time stream apart forever. We jump back to a flashback set several years ago at the Baxter Building, specifically in the Fantastic Four's extraterrestrial containment wing. We see Spider-Man and Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, inside a laboratory. Spider-Man is clearly anxious. He paces around the room and shares real concerns about his health. He admits that he spends months bonded to the alien symbiote, thinking it is just a high-tech suit. And now he is terrified about long-term side effects. He even vividly describes his fear of something bursting out of his chest. Reed Richards, ever the calm scientist, studies the data carefully. He tries to reassure Spider-Man, explaining that although he has not studied the creature as much as he would like, the lab results look promising. Reed says the symbiote survives for a long time without a host, which classifies it as facultative rather than obligate. For Reed, this is a positive sign about its biological nature. But Spider-Man, still panicking, snaps back and says it is easy for Reed to stay calm about it. The conversation continues as Reed apologizes for using scientific jargon. But Spider-Man interrupts him and reveals that he actually understands the terminology because of his own science background. Reed acknowledges this and says he has been impressed by Spider-Man's intellect on several occasions. This compliment completely flusters Spider-Man. He immediately starts fanboying over Reed, telling him how much that validation means coming from his idol. Spider-Man lists Reed's massive achievements, discovering the negative zone, creating unstable molecules, and even managing to marry a beautiful woman despite being a giant nerd. In an emotional moment, Reed acknowledges that with the right resources, people can achieve similar things. He also mentions that he would like to analyze Spider-Man's webbing fluid. Spider-Man stays humble and mentions that there would not be any webbing without Reed's pioneering research into synthetic polymers for the space program. The scene strengthens their bond. Spider-Man admits that his younger self would never believe he would be having a peer-to-peer conversation with the world's greatest scientist. But suddenly, a voice comes from the background, saying that Reed is the dumbest man alive. It is the symbiote. While the two geniuses are bonding, the focus shifts to the containment vessel holding the creature. We see it floating inside a green liquid in a glass tube. A small drone-like device with a red laser begins scanning the tank. The symbiote reacts violently to the intrusion. It slams itself against the glass, shattering the containment vessel. The alien entity spills out, lashes at the drone, and destroys it instantly. The creature is free. It quickly starts forming into a humanoid shape, searching for a way out and a new host. The scene shifts to the present day, sometime after the flashback. Reed and Sue Richards walk down a city street in the evening. Reed carries their son, Franklin, on his shoulders. The couple has a serious conversation about parenting. Reed tells Sue that she does not need to justify her feelings. He understands that he needs to be more present. He reflects on how much he enjoys these simple moments: the wind in the air, the autumn smell, and Franklin making a mess with his ice cream. He admits that moments like this make him never want to return to the lab. They spot Spider-Man swinging through the streets. Sue suggests inviting Spider-Man to join them. She says that Spidey clearly looks up to Reed like a big brother, and Franklin idolizes him too. But then Franklin, with a sharp child's eye for detail, notices something is wrong with the costume. It is the black suit. Reed immediately understands the danger. It is the symbiote. He quickly orders his family to return home to the safe room. The symbiote figure swings down, crashing toward the family. Reed steps forward to defend his wife and son. Sue declares that her powers are more effective against this specific threat. Reed shouts at Sue to take Franklin to safety because the alien seems to be specifically targeting the boy. There is a short but emotional exchange of "I love you" between them before Sue rushes away with Franklin. Reed stays behind to face the monster. He feels confident because he knows the symbiote's weaknesses: fire and sound. He reminds himself that the city has plenty of sources for both. The symbiote attacks aggressively, its tendrils snapping through the air. Reed stretches and twists his body to dodge and weave, trying to lead the fight away from his family. Reed leads the creature toward a construction site, hoping to use the heavy machinery and dangerous environment to his advantage. He grabs a welding torch or some type of energy cutter and tries to use it against the symbiote. But the fight quickly spirals out of control. The symbiote is fast and brutal. It knocks workers off scaffolding and throws the entire area into chaos. Reed stretches his body to save the falling construction workers, shouting for them to run for their lives. This heroic act leaves him exposed. While he focuses on saving civilians, the symbiote suddenly pounces. It engulfs Reed completely, wrapping him in thick black tendrils. Reed struggles as muffled cries escape him. The alien sludge covers his face and body, taking him out of the fight. We enter the terrifying internal monologue of the symbiote as it fully possesses Reed Richards. The creature feels relief at finally having a host, but that feeling quickly turns into frustration. It considers Reed a bad host because his mind is too strong and he resists too hard. The alien wants a stronger body with a weaker mind. Its focus shifts back to its main goal: Need Boy. It is obsessed with capturing Franklin, but then Franklin suddenly senses something else nearby. The symbiote also detects a familiar presence. It feels Spider-Man close by. The creature recognizes him as a friend and an old host. It expresses a disturbing excitement, yes, at the thought of reuniting with the wall crawler. Now the alien is torn between its desire for the boy and its twisted connection to Spider-Man. The scene switches to the real Spider-Man, swinging through the city with a bouquet of flowers in his hand. He is lost in thought, thinking about his friends Liz and Harry. He feels relieved that Liz is okay after the hobgoblin attack, but he also feels guilty for not stopping the villain sooner. He is on his way to visit them at the hospital, feeling lucky that they are still even talking to him. Peter's internal monologue drifts to his own love life. He compares his messy, chaotic relationships to the stable life Reed and Sue share. He wonders if the secret to happiness is marrying another superhero. He jokingly imagines settling down with the black cat and raising spider kittens, but quickly shuts the thought down, calling it a disaster waiting to happen, like the Manson family. Suddenly, his spider sense explodes with warning. A black tendril slams into him out of nowhere, knocking the flowers from his hand. In that moment, he realizes in horror that the symbiote is loose. Spider-Man spins through the air, struggling with the symbiote as they clash mid-swing. He gets a closer look and realizes the person trapped beneath the black mass is Reed Richards. The symbiote copies Reed's voice, begging for help in a twisted attempt to confuse Peter. Spider-Man is in a nightmare situation. He knows the only person smart enough to remove the symbiote is the very man who is now trapped inside it. Peter quickly pieces together the creature's plan. It might be trying to trade Reed for him, or maybe it plans to bond with both of them. He cracks a nervous joke about not knowing anything about these long johns from Mars, which is why he left the thing with Reed in the first place. Then he corrects himself. He does know one thing. He remembers its weakness. Spider-Man swings toward a loud venue, a club hall blasting heavy metal music at full volume. He crashes through the skylight, dragging the possessed Reed down with him. The band, which Spidey jokes looks like an Iron Maiden cover band, keeps playing without missing a beat. The overwhelming noise makes the symbiote thrash and writhe in pain. The alien shrieks as its grip on Reed starts to weaken. Reed realizes this is his chance, but he knows this fight needs a permanent solution. In the middle of the struggle, Reed has a horrifying realization. When the symbiote attacked him, he felt its mind. It is not just after him. It wants Franklin. Reed understands the truth immediately. By bonding with him, the creature has accessed his memories. It knows where the lab is, how to enter it, and most importantly, where to find Franklin. Back at the Baxter building, the scene cuts to She-Hulk and Johnny Storm. She-Hulk struggles to button her jeans, complaining that they fit perfectly just last week. She accuses Johnny of shrinking her clothes or pulling one of his stupid pranks. She warns him that while the thing might tolerate it, she will give him a gamma-powered wedgie. Johnny laughs it off, saying she is not nearly as fun to tease as Ben Grimm. Their banter comes to a sudden stop when Sue Richards and Franklin burst through a security door, both looking terrified. They rush toward the safest section of the building. Johnny immediately asks what is going on, shocked to see his sister in such a state of panic. Sue frantically explains that she had to leave Reed behind fighting the alien symbiote, and that a Spider-Man-shaped symbiote is now hunting Franklin. Before she can finish explaining, thick black symbiote matter begins pouring into the room from above. The creature now possesses She-Hulk, towering in a monstrous form. It mocks them with the word, "fantastic." Johnny and Sue stare upward in shock. Johnny can only manage a quiet, "oh boy," as the reality sinks in. The symbiote has bypassed their outer defenses and is now deep inside their home, wearing the strongest body it could find. Sue forces herself to stay calm for Franklin's sake. She reminds him of their emergency drills and tells him to stay behind her. She is fierce and ready to kill anyone who threatens her child, but the symbiote is dangerously intelligent. It anticipates her moves and shifts again, now using Sue. Spider-Man and Reed arrive at the scene as well. Johnny yells "flames on" and attacks, but the symbiote counters instantly. Spider-Man mocks Johnny, calling him matchsticks, knowing the symbiote understands that Johnny will not unleash his full Nova Flame while Sue is trapped inside it. The creature uses Sue's powers to shield itself from the team's attacks. Franklin suddenly thinks of the sonic blaster, the one he once used to force the symbiote off Spider-Man. There is no time to act, because the creature is already moving toward Franklin. Johnny realizes it has accessed security codes straight from Sue's thoughts. The symbiote fights with brutal efficiency, systematically taking down the strongest heroes. Johnny warns that Franklin has incredible powers buried deep inside him, and if the creature bonds with the boy, it will unlock that potential. The situation turns desperate. The symbiote overwhelms the adults and looms over Franklin, ready to bond with him. Everyone rushes in, but they are too late to physically stop the initial grab. Reed arrives with the sonic gun, but it is not fast enough. The symbiote wraps itself around Franklin, and terror fills the room. Sue screams at the monster to get away from her son. Johnny and Spider-Man panic. Reed searches desperately for a way to use sound or heat without hurting the boy. Reed collapses to the floor, battered and exhausted. In that moment, Peter realizes science is not the answer. He tells Reed that Franklin does not need the smartest man in the world right now. He needs his father. Reed calls out to his son. He does not give instructions or calculations. He speaks as a father. He tells Franklin that he and Sue love him more than anything. He reminds Franklin how proud they are of him, how brave and strong he truly is. Reed tells Franklin they are not going to fight this battle for him. He gives his son strength instead of solutions, telling him he is stronger than he has ever been. As the symbiote tightens around him, Franklin finds his courage. A massive surge of energy erupts from the boy. He screams, "Get off me!" The blast is pure power, ripping the symbiote apart and blasting the black substance away in every direction. The explosion fades, and the symbiote is violently rejected. It lies scattered, unable to maintain its bond with Franklin. The heroes stand ready, but the immediate danger is over. Smoke and debris fill the room. Franklin's raw power is simply too much for the alien to control or corrupt. Johnny, furious, declares that no alien blob body snatches his nephew. Franklin runs into his parents' arms, safe at last. He tells his father that he did not want to be the monster's friend, and that nobody else does either. She-Hulk collects the remaining symbiote and seals it back inside the containment tube it once escaped from. Later, calm returns to the Baxter building. Reed builds a new containment habitat for the symbiote, far more secure than the last one. He talks with Spider-Man and Sue about what happened. Sue admits she would never suggest killing an intelligent creature, but this thing threatened their son. Reed explains that he has taken extreme precautions. He does not know how it escaped the first time, but he promises the only way it gets out now is if someone blows up the building. Reed notices a disturbing change in the symbiote. Before, it only wanted a host. Now, after being rejected by Spider-Man, then Reed, and finally Franklin, its emotions have twisted into rage and hatred. Reed warns that any future host will inherit that anger and resentment. The story ends on a warm note. Sue and Reed thank Spider-Man for saving their family. Reed apologizes to Peter for not treating him as an equal sooner. Peter thanks Reed for trusting him, not just as a scientist, but as a man. They shake hands, their friendship sealed. Peter reflects that the wisest man he ever knew taught him about power and responsibility. And the smartest man he knows lives by those words every single day. Late at night, the camera zooms in on a small mechanical device hovering near the building, the same type of drone that once freed the symbiote. It has collected a small sample of the black substance. The drone belongs to Dr. Doom. He studies the sample with fascination, analyzing its near-infinite ability to replicate itself. Doom concludes that with the right resources, this alien substance could be weaponized. Given enough investment, turning it into a biological bomb would be disturbingly easy. Flashing back to a few years ago, we see the massive, gaping maw of a subterranean cave entrance. Standing before it are the combined forces of the classic Fantastic Four and the new team: Wolverine, Spider-Man, The Thing, Sue Storm, the Grey Hulk, and Ghost Rider. They are confronting the ruler of this domain, the Mole Man. The Mole Man is furious, declaring that these surface dwellers have invaded his home and wreaked havoc. He demands that they pay the price for their intrusion. The tension is high as the heroes stand surrounded by the debris of battle, and the Mole Man is perched atop one of his giant monsters, looking down at them in judgment. The confrontation escalates immediately. The Skrulls are having none of it, expressing their distrust of humans and challenging the Mole Man to do his worst. They add to the threat, warning that Skrulls are hard to kill. Suddenly, Spider-Man steps in to de-escalate the situation. He calls out the action movie cliches and reminds everyone that they agreed on a peaceful resolution. Mole Man tries to argue that he did not want a war either, but he points out that now that they are on the surface, the Skrull aliens present must answer for seizing control of his subjects and trying to destroy the domain with a bomb. Sue counters the argument, giving her word that she will handle it. She explains the complex political situation. The Skrulls present are actually the police force of their world. They come to Earth to stop a terrorist named Delilah. Sue reveals that Delilah is a rebel assassin who impersonates her to steal a weapon of mass destruction. She explains that Delilah is a low-level telepath who mesmerizes the male heroes, Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider, into believing that the Skrulls killed the real Fantastic Four, tricking them into helping her. Sue continues her explanation, revealing Delilah's true objective. The Skrull terrorist is not just causing chaos. She is after an indestructible robot life form called the Technotroid. However, there is a complication. The newborn robot imprints on one of the Mole Man's creatures, considering the beast its mother. Sue argues that because of this imprinting, the robot will never obey anyone else, making it useless to the Skrull Empire. She proposes a solution to the Skrull soldiers. If they return home and report the weapon as destroyed, they can avoid execution for failure. The Skrulls, realizing the logic in this, agree to the terms. Sue outlines the final deal. The Mole Man keeps the robot, the Skrulls get their prisoner Delilah, and Sue gets to go home and eat ice cream to forget the trauma of seeing her husband mind-controlled. She asks if everyone agrees this is fair, or if they really want these powerful aliens running wild in their house. The Mole Man accepts the terms, but issues a stern warning that if they ever violate his kingdom again, there will be consequences. The heroes acknowledge this, tired of the monsters and destruction. The scene shifts to the Skrull ship preparing for departure. Reed Richards begins coaching the Skrulls on what they should tell the Skrull Emperor to make the story of the robot's destruction believable. Meanwhile, the Skrull soldiers drag their prisoner Delilah onto the ship. Inside the ship, Delilah is bound to a chair. Despite her captivity, she remains defiant. Suddenly, Doom arrives and tells the prisoner that sorcery brought her to this state and suggests that sorcery should set her free, her eyes glowing with telepathic energy. Doom's psychological warfare works. On the ship's bridge, the pilots ask the guard if he hears something, but it is too late. Delilah has set herself free. Ghost Rider suddenly senses a disturbance. He announces that innocent blood has been spilled nearby. Spider-Man is confused, asking if he means on the mainland. Ghost Rider clarifies that the souls are crying for vengeance right there. He warns the group to stay put because things are about to get ugly. Back on the ship, the situation flips instantly. Delilah has broken free and taken control. She bursts onto the bridge and projects an image of ultimate beauty, asking them if they do not want to do everything she says. She commands them, asking if they do not burn with the desire to kill each other. The mind control takes total hold. Chaos erupts as Delilah launches her attack. Sue blasts back with energy. Spidey notes that his spider sense warns him to look away, sparing him from Delilah's visual hypno-charms. Delilah tries to use her powers on Ghost Rider, but he claims that as the spirit of vengeance, her charms are useless against him. The she-thing, Sharon, is also fine, attributing her resistance to girl power. However, the other male heroes are not so lucky. The Thing, Hulk, Human Torch, and Wolverine are suddenly overcome with inexplicable rage. Spider-Man, annoyed by this, says he hates men as the heavy hitters turn on their teammates with pure aggression. The mind control that Sue warned about earlier is now reactivated and amplified. The Hulk, the Thing, Human Torch, and Wolverine are screaming, "Kill you," repeatedly. It is a terrifying sight. The Gray Hulk winds up a massive punch, Wolverine slashes with his claws, and the Thing charges forward. Spider-Man and the others are forced into a defensive posture. The narrative captions describe the situation simply as disaster, timeline, and vengeance. The team is fracturing under the influence of the Skrull telepath, turning a peaceful resolution into a full deathmatch. Ghost Rider realizes that while his Hellfire freed the Skrulls from Delilah's influence earlier, it is failing against the Human Torch and the others now, because the Skrull Witch's power has somehow been magnified. Sharon pleads with the Thing, her friend Ben Grimm, to stop, reminding him who she is. Sue calls out to Spider-Man, offering cover, but notes that they are drastically overpowered. She realizes their only hope is to outsmart the brute force of their mind-controlled friends. Sue observes the battlefield. Ghost Rider is a loose cannon, and the She-Thing, Sharon Ventura, is barely holding back the Hulk and Ben. Spider-Man realizes that Delilah uses love and desire to manipulate her victims. Remembering how he feels when he is mind-zapped earlier, he tells Sue that he is going to steal her gimmick. He instructs Sue to drop her force field. The plan goes into motion. Spider-Man swings into action, dodging Wolverine's claws. At the same time, Sue drops her defensive barriers. Spidey lands near the She-Thing, who is holding back the Thing and Hulk. Spidey shoots webbing directly onto the Hulk's and Wolverine's faces, blinding them momentarily. Spider-Man quips that he hopes they will not need long and asks Sue if she can knock Ben back for a second. The tension is intense as the heavy hitters close in, and Sue leaves herself completely vulnerable to execute this plan. The action continues smoothly. Spider-Man dodges and weaves, trying to keep the heavy hitters occupied. He apologizes to the She-Thing and a certain redhead back home for what he is about to do. In a shocking turn of events, Spider-Man grabs Sharon and kisses her passionately. The effect is immediate and catastrophic for the observers. The Thing, having ripped the webbing off his eyes, witnesses Spider-Man kissing her. He is stunned. The visual impact of seeing the woman he loves in a romantic embrace with the wall crawler sends a shockwave through his mind. A heart symbol breaks in the panel, signifying the emotional rupture. The gambit works, but in a violent way. The Thing flies into a jealous rage, calling Spider-Man a backstabbing two-timing girl-snatching gigolo. He threatens to destroy him. This surge of real, raw emotion overrides the artificial mind control. The Grey Hulk is also roaring, releasing pure fury. The Thing and the Hulk collide, with Ben getting clobbered but still fighting back. Spider-Man stays in the middle of it, dodging heavy blows and noting that by the time this is over, the Thing will have to get in line to beat him up. The chaotic brawl shifts from mind-controlled madness to a jealous lover's fight, finally breaking Delilah's hold. Sue and Spider-Man break the kiss. Sue tells Spider-Man to stop apologizing, insisting that she knows what had to happen and there was no other way. We see the sheer horror on the face of Reed Richards. He is screaming, "No," as he watches his wife kissing the web-slinger. It is a moment of pure trauma for Reed, seeing his worst nightmare play out in the middle of the burning battlefield. The Human Torch, on the other hand, humorously shouts, "Kissing my sister?" followed by a scream, highlighting the chaotic and awkward energy caused by the mind games. The shock therapy continues. Johnny Storm is also freaking out, saying the image is burned into his brain. Reed tries to calm him down, realizing that Sue and Spidey are doing it to shock them back to their senses. But the battle is not over yet. Wolverine is still berserk. Ghost Rider decides to end it. He grabs Wolverine and subjects him to the penance stare. He explains that he will show mercy and make Wolverine feel the agony he caused on just one single day during World War I. The spirit of vengeance forces the mutant to relive the sorrow he has inflicted, using guilt to override the mind control. Wolverine screams in agony as the penance stare takes effect. Spider-Man checks on him, asking if he is okay. Wolverine, shaken, grunts that he does not live with that pain every day for nothing. Meanwhile, the She-Thing has the Grey Hulk locked in a headlock. She points out that they still have a large loose end. The Thing comes to help her and gestures toward Delilah, noting that the Skrull chick wants the spaceship so she can escape. The Thing executes a variation of the fastball special. They pick up the Hulk and prepare to throw him toward the ship. He yells, "It's clobberin' time!" and hurls the giant hero through the air. Delilah, who is trying to board the damaged ship to escape, sees the flying projectile coming straight at her. She screams, "No!" realizing they are about to destroy her ride. The thing crashes the Hulk into the ship with massive force. Delilah tries to command the monster to calm himself before he destroys her only way off the miserable mudball, but it is too late. The impact destroys the ship's ability to launch, trapping the Skrull terrorist on Earth. The dust settles. The combined teams, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Hulk, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider, stand united against Delilah. She tries to fly away on her personal glider wings, but she quickly realizes the hopelessness of her situation. She looks down at the army of heroes waiting for her. Realizing her escape attempt is over and she is completely outmatched, she quietly says, I surrender. The threat is finally neutralized. We cut to the aftermath. Delilah is taken away by the Skrull authorities. The Skrull leader thanks the heroes unofficially, while officially declaring that they are enemies of the Empire who must die screaming. Spider-Man and the Thing share a brief moment. The Thing tells Spidey there are no hard feelings about the kiss, but warns him that if he ever tries it again, he will get clobbered. Spidey understands the message. The new Fantastic Four team gathers. Ben mentions that the temporary team worked well in a crisis, but Hulk hopes it never happens again. Spidey agrees, saying if this crew ever reunites, it means things have gone completely off the rails. Wolverine agrees and suggests they leave and grab a beer. The temporary alliance slowly breaks apart as the darker, grittier heroes walk away. Later, in a quieter moment, Spider-Man approaches Sue Richards. He awkwardly tries to address the kiss. Sue cuts him off, telling him he can just call her Sue. She assures him that it was probably the most awkward kiss in human history, which relieves Spidey, who admits it was weird. They share a heartfelt conversation. Spider-Man admits he usually feels uncomfortable around women, which surprises Sue. He explains that since he met her, he never thinks of her that way. He confesses that he once flirted with her a long time ago, but only to annoy her brother Johnny. Sue says she never realized and jokes sarcastically about it. He tells her that he values their friendship because it grows naturally, without the usual awkwardness he feels around girls. He appreciates that from day one, she treats him like a man, not an annoying kid or a menace. He calls that cool. Sue returns the sentiment. She tells Spider-Man that she has always appreciated how he treats her as an equal, not just as the wife, sister, or mother of the Fantastic Four. She explains that while she loves that the boys protect her and keep her safe, she also values that she shares something different with Spider-Man, a bond built on mutual respect and equality. The scene ends on a lighthearted note. Spider-Man asks if he can still flirt with her sometimes, just to irritate the Human Torch. Sue sighs and agrees with a smile, restoring their playful dynamic. We shift perspective to deep underground. The Mole Man watches the heroes leave his domain. He feels relieved that they are finally gone, admitting that he secretly hoped they might destroy each other. However, he accepts that small victories still count as victories. Suddenly, a green magical light appears in the darkness. Then we see a sinister twist. A close-up reveals a robotic eye and armored plating. A figure records a mission log. Dr. Doom stands there, revealing that while the heroes were distracted by the battle, he managed to retrieve a sample of the newborn Technotroid's indestructible shell before it fully hardened. He declares success. He announces that at last, he has gathered everything he needs to achieve his ultimate goal, the total subjugation of the Fantastic Four. We cut to the present day at the Baxter Building. The scene is hilarious and perfectly captures the domestic chaos of the FF. We see Ben Grimm, the Thing, taking a bath, or rather sitting in a massive tub full of suds, singing Lady Gaga's Poker Face at the top of his lungs. Suddenly, there is a knock at the window. It's Spider-Man, hanging upside down. Ben is absolutely terrified, shouting about how Spidey scares the daylights out of him. Spidey quips that he is trying to avoid getting zapped by security lasers, but he also wants answers. He tells Ben he got an urgent text message saying the Fantastic Four needed his help immediately. Ben looks at his massive, rocky fingers and sarcastically asks if it looks like he is capable of texting anyone. He points out that his fingers are huge, making delicate typing impossible. Spidey decides to investigate who sent the distress signal. He first goes to Sue Storm, the invisible woman. She is busy playing with the kids, Franklin and Valeria, creating invisible force fields for them to climb on. She tells Peter that she didn't text him, and Franklin invites him to try out the invisible monkey bars. Spidey declines, determined to find the source. He assumes it has to be someone in the building because Reed's security is hack-proof. He finds Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, in the lab. Reed is suspended in a harness, beta testing a communication system that transmits thoughts directly to recipients. Reed dismisses the idea of texting, explaining he rarely does it and is focused on his new invention. Finally, Spidey checks on Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. Johnny is prepping for a Friday night out, surrounded by girls doing his manicure. He brushes Spidey off, saying he has club openings and a premiere to get to, and that Spidey's nerd energy is killing his vibe. It's clear none of the main four send the message. We move to the living area. Since Spidey is already there and his Friday night plans are canceled to answer the fake summons, he figures he might as well stay. He joins Ben Grimm at a poker table. Spidey admits he has lost a lot of money to Ben in the past and asks for tips, joking that despite wearing a mask, he can't seem to bluff. Ben agrees to postpone his night out for his pal. He starts explaining tells to Spider-Man, noting that a mask doesn't help if Spidey taps his feet every time he has a good hand. Just as they are settling in, a green teleportation mist appears in the empty chair across from them. A voice speaks from the smoke, acknowledging Spider-Man and stating that he answered the summons. It's Dr. Doom. He has arrived, and all the Fantastic Four are here now. Dr. Reed is trying to figure out what's going on. Spider-Man is dodging. The Human Torch flames on. Ben stands in shock. All the heroes gather, ready to fight Dr. Doom and find out why he is here. The team instantly goes into combat mode. Johnny flames on. Sue throws up a force field around the children and sends them to the panic room, and Ben and Spidey ready themselves. Standing before them is a figure in green armor that looks suspiciously like Dr. Doom. The team is confused. Ben furiously asks how Doom got past their security. The intruder scoffs, calling Reed by his first name, Victor, and mocking the idea that security could stop him. Reed realizes something is off. He notes the intruder knows the layout intimately. The intruder removes his helmet, revealing that it is indeed Christos, the orphaned boy Dr. Doom once took in and programmed with his own memories to be his heir. It is him all along, the one we see throughout the issue. Christos begins to explain his absence. Sue mentions they haven't seen him since the Onslaught incident years ago. Christos explains that when the Fantastic Four and Doom are presumed dead, he and Dr. Richards, Reed's father, try to seize power in Latveria as Doom's heir. However, it is difficult. When Doom eventually returns, Christos realizes he can't just take the throne. He has to depose Doom properly. To do that, he decides he needs to defeat Doom in a way that is absolute. He builds an inferior replica of Doom's time machine, capable of only a few trips, to set a plan in motion that begins in the past. He wants to groom himself to be the one who finally defeats his former master. Christos continues his monologue, revealing that he has been weaving himself into their history. He explains that he first masters sorcery, an area Doom often neglects in favor of science. He steals data from Doom's library while Doom is distracted fighting the Submariner and the FF in the past. He then reveals he is the one who releases the alien symbiote, Venom, from the Baxter building long ago to get a sample of it. He uses that sample to create a biological weapon referencing the Venom bomb incident. When that fails to keep Doom down permanently, he uses his final time jump to go to Monster Island. There, he harvests impenetrable metal from a creature before it fully matures. He uses this metal to craft his new armor, which he claims makes him not just Doom's equal, but his superior. Now comes the pitch. Christos tells them that despite his upgrades, Doom is too entrenched and powerful to fight alone. He has come to the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man to ask for an alliance. He acknowledges the bond between Spidey and the FF, noting that the universe seems to select Spidey to fill the role of the fifth member in many realities. He asks them to join him in a war to kill Dr. Doom and liberate Latveria from tyranny. Sue Storm immediately shuts him down. She explains that while they want to help Christos, what he is asking is impossible. She points out that they have deposed Doom before, and it always leads to a power vacuum where worse tyrants take over or the country falls into chaos. Furthermore, she notes that the Latverian people mostly support Doom, and they cannot start a war that would kill innocents just to force a regime change. Reed tries to take a paternal approach. He tells Christos that they can still help him, but he needs to step back. Reed diagnoses that Christos is studying advanced dark magic without a mentor, which has corrupted his mind and warped his thinking. This triggers Christos. He takes offense at the implication that he is mad. In a rage, he blasts Ben Grimm with a massive energy bolt. The negotiations are over. Christos screams, "How dare you!" And the fight begins in earnest inside the Baxter building. Chaos erupts. Christos declares he has no time to debate inferiors. He threatens to use his sorcery to bind them in bands of energy. Spidey leaps into action, trying to web Christos up while cracking jokes about his lack of manners. Christos easily incinerates the webbing. Sue tries to reason with him, begging him to stop before someone gets hurt. Christos turns on her, trapping her in a force bubble. He rants that Doom is nothing to him now, and that he is no longer a pale imitation or a shadow of his former master. He screams in rage, unleashing a massive sonic or magical attack that fills the room. Christos continues his assault on Reed, boasting that unlike Doom, he doesn't feel the need to prove he is smarter than Reed. He is content to simply destroy him with dark arts that Reed doesn't understand. Sue breaks free from her containment, furious. She blasts him with her invisible force fields, shouting that she feels sorry for the childhood he lost, but the moment he hurts her husband, he loses the right to kindness. She tries to crush his armor. Christos laughs it off, reminding her that his armor is made of the virtually indestructible metal he found on Monster Island. He analyzes her force field data and counters it, knocking her back and calling her by her name, Susie, twisting the familiarity he once shared with them. Ben Grimm recovers from the initial blast and decides it is clobberin' time. He smashes into Christos, burying him under a pile of rubble. Ben is furious, calling Christos a delinquent and trying to teach him a lesson the only way he knows how. Christos bursts out of the rubble, unimpressed. He says his armor allows him to hold his own physically, but unlike Doom, he doesn't find honor in a fistfight. He blasts Ben point blank, stating that he is close enough to exploit Ben's vulnerabilities. He then turns his attention to Johnny Storm, who is unleashing a torrent of flame. Christos mocks them, saying that when faced with a true challenge, the Fantastic Four are no different than Doom. They claim to be heroes, but their lives mean nothing compared to his goals. Christos accuses Johnny of caring only for himself and claims that his ideals vanish the moment his power is threatened. He screams that their lies are exposed. Christos fires energy beams at Johnny, but Spidey's agility is on full display. Ben tells Spider-Man that he is working on a plan and just needs to buy a little time. Spider-Man swings back into the fray to distract Christos. Christos calls Spidey a coward and an insect, demanding he stand still and face death with nobility. Spidey faces the blast from the villain as well. The fight continues. Spidey wall crawls and leaps around, keeping Christos distracted. He realizes that Ben isn't acting randomly. He is moving towards something, likely with a specific goal in mind. But Christos finally takes Ben down, now claiming his victory against the Fantastic Four. He demands that Spider-Man surrender. Spidey finally lands and tells Christos that he has figured out what Ben was going for earlier. Christos tells Spider-Man that whatever weapon he is looking for, it won't change anything. Spidey stands his ground, pulls out an old album from the shelf, and tells Christos that he is going to prove him wrong, not with a punch, but with the truth. This is the turning point of the issue. Spider-Man isn't holding a weapon, he is holding a photo album. He starts talking to Christos, calmly and honestly. He tells Christos that he loses his parents when he is a kid too. He knows that rage, that feeling of being angry at the world. But Spidey says he is lucky because he has people who give him a safe place and a family, his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. He points out that Christos is lucky too. Sure, at first he has Doom, who tries to mold him into a weapon, which is terrible. But then the Fantastic Four take him in. They are the closest thing to a family Christos has since losing his parents. Spidey shows him the photos, pictures of the FF celebrating birthdays and vacations with Christos. He tells him they keep these photos because they love him. Christos hesitates, but then snaps back, claiming the FF abandoned him when they return from the alternate universe and never search for him. Ben Grimm steps in, his voice filled with emotion. He calls Christos an idiot, affectionately, and tells him they look everywhere for him, but Christos doesn't want to be found. But they never stop caring. The emotional appeal continues. Ben tells Christos that all this talk about liberating Latveria is nonsense. The real reason Christos is here is because he is angry at his dad, Dr. Doom, and wants to get back at him. But deep down, he also wants to get back at the Fantastic Four, the family he thinks rejects him. Ben emphasizes that Reed, Sue, and Johnny are blood, and they don't question their bond. But Ben and Spidey, they are the ones who come from outside. They know what it feels like to need to belong. Spider-Man admits he knows Christos feels like he has to push them away before they get tired of him. Johnny tells Ben that he is just as much a part of this family as anyone. Christos listens to all of this quietly. Christos is shaken. The anger slowly drains out of him. Reed says he has programs running right now to wipe any trace of Christos from international databases so he won't be hunted. Sue steps forward and tells him it isn't too late. She mentions Cassie Lang, reminding Christos that they are good friends back in the day and that Cassie is a hero now who would love to see him. They offer to help him deal with whatever he has done. For a moment, Christos looks like a scared kid again, but he says no. He claims he has spent too much effort and sacrificed too much to be dissuaded now. He summons his teleportation energy. He declares that he sees now he doesn't need the Fantastic Four to bring down Doom. He shouts that Christos Bernard needs no one and vanishes in a flash of light, rejecting their offer of love. The room is quiet. The smoke clears. The team stands in the wreckage of their living room. Sue laments that they should have looked for him harder. Ben is especially crushed. He says he feels like Christos is lost long before he starts messing with black magic. Spidey tries to comfort them, saying that maybe it is already too late when Christos goes back to Doom. Reed blames himself, recalling how he once convinces Ben to pilot a spaceship years ago, something he feels sets him on this path. But Ben says he is a grown man who makes his own decisions, and anyway, hearing that makes him feel like that is the only reason they keep him around. Sue walks over to Ben and firmly tells him that isn't true. But Ben thinks that even if he spends enough time on his own, he doesn't know if figuring it out would make a difference. Sometimes you can't figure things out until you are already too far gone. The mood shifts into a heart-to-heart between the team. Sue tells Ben that when she thinks of him, or Peter, or Johnny, she remembers that they aren't much older than Christos when they start this life. But things feel different for them. Spidey interjects, saying, "But they weren't." He opens up to them. He talks about how when he starts out, he is a pest, a kid with powers who can't talk to his Aunt May about any of it. He feels alone. But seeing the Fantastic Four makes a difference. He sees 4 people around his age who don't hide their faces or names. Well, mostly. He sees that they respect each other and love each other. He tells them they accept him for who he is, and they become his family. Just knowing that kind of connection is possible means the world to him, and it still does. We get a beautiful flashback of past events between Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. It's a collage of memories, not photos this time, but vibrant scenes of Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four fighting back to back, saving civilians, laughing, and swinging through the city. We see the fire, the stretching, the rocks, the webs. It visualizes the history they share. It's a testament to the 5th member status Spidey holds. The caption reinforces that because he is part of the family, anything is possible. We reach the conclusion. The team stands together. Reed agrees with Peter, acknowledging that while Peter has his aunt who doesn't know this side of his life, he also enjoys having someone to talk science with whose eyes don't glaze over. Johnny puts Spidey in a headlock and gives him a noogie, saying that's how he shows love. Sue mentions that the kids adore him, and they are pretty fond of him as well. Ben jokes about how ornery they are when they first start out, recalling the temper tantrums and broken furniture. Spidey deadpans that he hadn't noticed. Ben gets serious for a moment. He tells Peter that they can laugh about it now, but if it weren't for the people here, he doesn't know where he would be. He puts his arm around Spidey and tells him that whatever happens, whatever life throws at him, he needs to remember one thing: he has got them, and nobody can ever take that away. The issue ends with a shot of the team together, warm and united. But in the very final inset panel, we see a silhouette of Christos, alone in the dark, watching them. It is a stark contrast to the warmth the heroes share, emphasizing the tragedy of his choice to walk alone.